In association with Official Wrestling comes A Few Good Marks podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to A Few Good Marks. We are on FedWatch, and I am your host, Kieran Moran. It is literally just me today. Everyone else has been stricken down with illness or prior commitments, so today it's just me covering Fastlane 2018 to see if Fastlane can finally overcome that Fastlane curse. There's not much news to really talk about for FedWatch. Because we did a FedWatch not too long ago, and we covered pretty much everything on that. It was like 2 weeks ago when we did Elimination Chamber. So there's a couple of things regarding Wrestlemania and Hall of Fame, and I'll cover them at the end of the podcast. But to start off with, the pre-show match for Fastlane was Fashion Police and Ty Dillinger, who defeated Mojo Rawley and Shelton Benjamin and Chad Gable. I didn't see this match. It's probably the first time in about 8 months that I've not stayed up to watch a pay-per-view. I was just really tired and didn't really feel like I was missing out much, which is a shame considering that this is the final pay-per-view before WrestleMania. But I think if Elimination Chamber hadn't, if they are going to cut it down as to what we believe, they're going to cut it down immensely and have dual-branded pay-per-views from now on, we probably won't get that next year should they continue. So it'll be a lot better, and we won't be as tired. So I didn't see that match, but yeah, the Fashion Police and Ty Dillinger won. So anyway, on to the main card. First match was Shinsuke Nakamura against Rusev, the 2018 Men's Royal Rumble winner, going up against possibly the most over man in WWE right now. Some really nice mat wrestling to start off the match. I really like that there was a really cool spot where Nakamura tried for a Kinshasa for a second time, and Rusev nailed him with a massive super kick, caught him right on the chin. Shinsuke sold it like a boss. Looked really nasty, but Shinsuke came out victorious after a knee to the back of the head, followed up by another Kinshasa. Solid match, really, really good. I cannot wait for Nakamura's entrance at WrestleMania. There's a couple, I've noted them down as I've gone through for these guys. Actually, I may as well go through them now. There's Nakamura, there's Bobby Roode, there's Finn Balor, who have never entered at WrestleMania before on such a grand scale, on such a massive crowd, and to hear that will be amazing. Especially to hear the fans sing along to Nakamura's entrance music, which is going to be unreal. The second match on the card was for the United States title, Bobby Roode defending against Randy Orton. It was a solid story for the setup in this match. Randy Orton, in terms of contendership, because I guess you could have put you could have put Rusev in this match, considering how over he is. But Randy Orton, having never won the United States title before tonight, just came up to Bobby Roode and said, look, I've never won this title before. I want a title shot. And Bobby Roode saying he wants to prove that he was going to be the greatest United States champion ever. Put his belt on the line. Proper admirable. And I put it down here as well. I hope Bobby Roode does make it to WrestleMania for his entrance alone. I think that would be silly for them not to put him on the card somewhere. It was a really good finish. It was legitimately out of nowhere. I felt this match really dragged on. It was the second longest of the night. It went on for about 19 minutes. And there wasn't really much build-up to that finish. And I get it, it was out of nowhere, whatever. But this is probably the problem with Randy Orton, is there's not a lot of big spots that he does. And I think that's why people tend to sour on him a bit. Don't be wrong, he's a fantastic wrestler, really methodical, as the cliche now is to say, but that I think is lacking. He doesn't do massive spots. He just puts on solid wrestling matches. Randy Orton wins the United States title, is finally a Grand Slam champion, has won everything, Intercontinental, World Tag Team titles, a 12, 13 time heavyweight champion, world champion, and now the United States title. A tremendous, tremendous feat. Well done, Randy. And then Jinder Mahal came out, still trying to keep him relevant. And Bobby Roode comes in for the save on Randy Orton, DDT's Jinder, and then DDT's Orton, which is understandable. You've just lost, and he's showing. He is a face at the time, but I thought, could this be a start of a heel turn for Bobby Roode? They had to bring him in as a face because he's so over. You were never really going to get him much heat on NXT with the type of crowd that it is. So bringing him in as face and then starting to turn him heel, I think is a kind of a good step for him. He's not the greatest babyface in the world, but he is one of the best heels when he gets on the run. So that was that. Next up was Naomi and Becky Lynch against Carmella and Natalya. It was all right. It was a nothing match. Kept Carmella, she's the Miss Money in the Bank. Yeah, it's literally it. I didn't really pay much attention to this match. I didn't think it was anything too special. Next up was the New Day versus the Usos as they defended the SmackDown Tag Team titles. It was a really, whenever these two teams get in the ring, you're in for something good. The story building towards this was amazing. The promo package showed off the incredible rivalry from all of last year, and then showed off the promo from a couple of weeks ago where Big E was saying, we've been at the top of our game for 5 years. You guys have only just been around from now. The story of the match was really good, considering, they had about 10 minutes before the interruption happened. And I felt it was just really good storytelling because both teams were using each other's signature moves, either the singles or the tag team moves. And it was just like, this is how well we know you, and this is how much we want to humiliate you, and how much we hate each other by stealing each other's tag team moves and moves in general. And then the Bludgeon Brothers come in for the interruption and cause a no contest. They're trying to put these guys over. I can kind of see it. The big, scary dudes. As long as when they do bring up Authors of Pain, they put them on SmackDown so that we get that. Or, I don't know, because then do you have them wait until like Survivor Series, put both belts on the teams then? I don't know. It just seems that I think Rowan and Harper even, don't get me wrong, they're great guys. And I guess we'll see in the future how good they are when put against these two teams, because they've just been on squash rolls recently. So I guess we'll find out. The match ended in a no contest, so we'll see where this goes going forward. Next up was Ruby Riott against Charlotte Flair for the SmackDown Live Women's title. It was a decent match. It was a really decent match. Fair play to Ruby Riott. But I mean, you're never not going to get a good match out of Charlotte. She's an absolute pro. And Charlotte retains. She did a really nice moonsault off a barricade as well. And then Asuka comes out. And I fucking told everyone on the last show, I was like, oh no, like everyone told me, no, Alexa Bliss is facing Asuka, they've said it, blah, 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 blah. No, they didn't say it. I was right, and I'm really annoyed that nobody else is here, and they're all going to have to listen to this, but I told each and every one of yous, we're getting Asuka versus Charlotte at WrestleMania. Fuck! It's going to be amazing. Like, the first match that was confirmed was Shinsuke and AJ, and you sold the card from there. And now you're giving us what has the potential to be the greatest women's wrestling match in history. Like, that's a lot of pressure as well to put on two people, like straight out the gate before they've had one face-off, and they've never competed in the ring before. That's a lot of pressure, but I guess that's what comes with performing at WrestleMania as well. So, yeah, we've got that to look forward to, which is belting. And then we're on to our main event of the evening, which is the six-pack challenge for the WWE title. It was John Cena, Baron Corbin, Dolph Ziggler, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn against the defending champion AJ Styles. My first note here says I wish I'd have started these notes on the next page because there was quite a lot and I was right at the bottom. But anyway, lovely bit of blue that AJ was wearing. Lovely blue gear. We commented on this at the Royal Rumble, so it's only fitting that it gets a mention yet again. I loved Zayn and Owens' storytelling. The trust between them wasn't great, and they got it around in a really clever way to carry it on. Like, was Sammy... I was really hoping he'd go for it, and then he'd kick out too. But then Owens laid down, and Shane then pulled Zayn out of the pulled the ref out of the ring. It might have not been there, but that's what happened. And then Zayn went for the pin on someone, on Owens, I think, and then Shane pulled Sammy off out of the ring as well. So it's leading to some form of triple threat between the three of them at WrestleMania, something along those lines. But Shane got a kick to the face, obviously, by Kevin Owens. Obviously, I've literally just explained everything. I've done this in the wrong order, but Shane got a kick to the face by Kevin Owens, and then did the ref, the breaking up the pins thing. But in the end, AJ Styles retained. And we're getting... They tried to, trick everyone, throw a spanner in the works. Oh, you might not get Shinsuke and AJ. Oh, yeah, we were. I think they knew if they didn't give us that match exactly, even if they'd have thrown Cena in there for a triple threat, they'd have lost a fair few of their viewers off that alone. But there we go. I'm recording this on the Tuesday after Fastlane, so I haven't seen SmackDown because it hasn't happened yet. But what I can tell you is what happened on Raw, and the only interesting thing that really happened on Raw for me was John Cena calling out The Undertaker. I've made my feelings quite clear on this podcast about Undertaker, how I don't want Undertaker to have another match. I just think he doesn't need to. But Cena called him out. Said about stop posting videos on your wife's Instagram. It looks like it's happening. This dream match this singles match that we've never really had of John Cena in his prime and The Undertaker of what he is now. But I mean, Cena's a pro. I guess I'd rather see a Cena Undertaker than what we saw last year with Reigns and Undertaker. So we'll see. As far as the Hall of Fame goes, we've had 2 new entries since our last podcast. So we've got Hillbilly Jim. Fair enough. I think the oftentimes with the Hall of Fame is that people... I mean, I can't really speak this, and I'm not sure if... this might just be bollocks for Hillbilly Jim, but especially for Jeff Jarrett, it's now becoming not so much as what they did whilst they're in the WWE, but what they've contributed to professional wrestling in general. So, Hillbilly Jim, you may not have been a massive star in the WWF at the time, but who knows what he's done afterwards. I probably could have done a bit more research on this. But there we go. So Hillbilly Jim, congratulations on going into the Hall of Fame. And in the celebrity wing is Kid Rock. Wow. Yeah, he's been a staple of WWE. He's lent a number of songs to the WWE over his time. But my God, just wow. And they still won't put China in. But they will have a a Fabulous Moolah Battle Royal at Mania. If you want to, I'm not going to go into why that's a bad thing, but go and look it up. It's all online. It's a dodgy decision, and is the WWE turning a blind eye to one thing and openly accepting another. So that's one match confirmed for WrestleMania, is the Women's Battle Royal for the Fabulous Moolah Trophy, as it will be. So no Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, which I'm fine with, because it didn't mean anything. Give it time to rest, and then maybe bring it back or whatever. But it was just they didn't do anything with it when Cesaro won the first one, and they haven't done anything with it since. So it's pointless, really. Anyway, moving on. We have how many is there? Six confirmed at this moment in time matches for WrestleMania, which will be our next FedWatch in a couple of weeks' time. Of course, one of the big four might actually be big five. I'm not sure if we're doing the same that we do for Money in the Bank this year, the same as we do for all the other ones as we do for Money in the Bank. So we have Lesnar versus Reigns for the Universal Championship. It's been a fair bit of back and forth. Last night, Vince McMahon temporarily suspended Roman Reigns for his comments last week. I hope that the lack that you can't see me doesn't avoid my use of air quotes there. Temporarily suspended. No one gets temporarily suspended. So it's the most kayfabiest thing that was ever kayfabed. Or the workiest work that ever did work. I believe I phrased it last night in the group. But we're getting it. The match at 31 was actually all right until Rollins came in and made the triple threat. So it's not so bad. I don't think it'll be a bad match at all. Then we have Styles versus Nakamura for the WWE Championship. Probably the match that most people will be looking forward to. If you've seen the Wrestle Kingdom 10 match, you know what they can do. And I genuinely think this could blow that one out of the water. And that's saying something, because that match was incredible. We have The Miz versus Rollins versus Balor for the Intercontinental Championship. Very happy that Rollins and Balor are both on the card, and they found a way just to throw them in. And I can't wait for that match. It's going to be a really good match. Finn Balor's going to Mania. That entrance is going to be sick. They'll probably bring out the Demon for WrestleMania. That entrance in that arena is going to be amazing. Charlotte versus Asuka, as we said before, for the SmackDown Women's title, again, has the potential to be the best women's wrestling match ever. Just ever. And I would fancy it to be very high on the card. Very, very high on the card. Possibly even second to last. That type of thing. If they go with the same type of booking that they did for SummerSlam, where everything just built up towards the main event, and you didn't really get a breather, then it has the potential to be very, very high on the card. Two of the matches left is Kurt Angle and Ronda Rousey against Stephanie McMahon and Triple H. Okay, fair. Absolutely fair enough. Because I think this is probably the smartest move they could have done. Because Ronda Rousey, straight away, you don't want to put her in there in a proper match straight away. And by a proper match, I mean a proper wrestling match. What this match will be a storyline match. Much like the Vince Shane match was at X7, much like what Stephanie and Vince was, I want to say No Way Out or No Mercy, in 2002, I think. So it's going to be like that, because that's the only type of matches that Steph can wrestle. And she put on a good, the same type of match against Nikki Bella as well. So, and Steph can put on a show. She's not the greatest wrestler, but it's going to show off Ronda for what she can actually do in the ring. And if she can sell, and if she can be dominant and can tell the story, which is probably, in WWE is a lot more important than most other things. And throwing Angle and Triple H in there is purely safety, because both those guys know what they're doing, regardless of Angle's condition or whatever. I think it's going to be... I'm really looking forward to it. As long as, Ronda and Angle win, and they're not doing this... If Stephanie and Triple H win, you may as well have not have signed Ronda Rousey. because you're just going to kill her off with that one thing. Nobody's going to care about her if that happens. Which I'm sure they won't, because that would be stupid, and the Fed aren't that stupid. We'd like to hope. So there's that. It's going to be good. And finally is the final for the Cruiserweight tournament to crown the new champion. At the moment, I believe it's Roderick Strong and Cedric Alexander in one semi-final, and Drew Gulak against Mustafa Ali, I believe, is the other semi-final. So Cedric Alexander and Mustafa Ali, I would want to see, personally. I'm sure if Croft were here, he'd give a big rant as to why he wouldn't want Roderick Strong in. So we'll, but he's not here to do that. So, but anyway, that is that for Fastlane, and that is that until WrestleMania. Or is it? No, it's not. So at the end of our last FedWatch, I said that you'd have a booking and storylines show to look forward to. Instead, you've got this one, but you do have that to look forward to in 2 weeks' time, where we tackle booking and storylines. We have talked about the pros and cons of what makes good booking, what makes bad storylines, and we've even had a little go at trying to book some storylines ourselves. And you can be the judge of that. So that is that for Fastlane 2018. Overall, not a bad show. If they hadn't have had Elimination Chamber 2 weeks away, apart from each other, they would have been fine. But there we go. It's done. WrestleMania is under a month away. The countdown is on. I'm not going to say any more because I'm dangerously close to cliche territory. So do not forget to like, comment and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Follow us on all the social media platforms. Do not forget to check our blog spot every other week for brand new content. Actually, I don't think anything's been uploaded on there very soon, but never mind. And do not and subscribe. Tell us what you think of this show. Tell us what you thought of Fastlane, and we shall see you very, very soon. See you, bye.